Do you guys remember? Humans can lick too. This was one of the most popular scary stories when I was a kid. Disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. The story goes like there was a young girl who was staying home alone one night while her parents went out. They were going to be home early the next morning, but they were confident that the girl would be okay because she had her dog to protect her. Before the girl went to bed, she locked every single window and door in the house, except there was one window in the basement that wouldn't close. After several minutes of trying, the girl finally got the window closed, but it wouldn't lock. The lock was stuck. She thought, it'll be fine, and she started to get herself ready for bed. The girl laid down for bed around 8 o'clock and her dog went to lay under her bed. She went to say goodnight to her dog and stuck her hand under her bed so that her dog could lick it. She woke up a couple hours later with a weird feeling, wanted to see if her dog was still under her bed, so she put her hand down there and her dog licked it. A couple hours later, the same thing, her dog licked her hand. I didn't realize the story would be longer than a minute, so
Morbid facts that will give you nightmares. When a prisoner is electrocuted in an electric chair, they can feel absolutely everything. They are fully aware that their body is being fried in real time, and one prisoner that survived said he actually smelled and tasted like cold peanut butter. Human corpses decompose 4 times faster in water than underground, and 8 times faster if left in the open air. It takes around 359 humans to have enough iron to forge a sword from their blood. Just about 3,000 people go missing every single year in the US. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977 in France. That was exactly the same year that the first Star Wars movie came out.
This is the story of Lauren Kavanaugh. Lauren Kavanaugh was born in 1993 to her mother Barbara, who had already decided to give her up for adoption. Sabrina Kavanaugh, the mother who adopted Lauren, took her in with a big heart. It was the happiest day of their lives, and they raised her like she was their biological kid. 8 months into adoption, Barbara decided she wanted to get back the rights to her kid. So after a long battle, Barbara and her now husband, Kenneth Atkinson, took her back into their home. She was still allowed to see Sabrina though. A couple of months into this, Sabrina started to notice a weird rash on Lauren's diaper, and she was 100% sure that she was being abused. She took pictures to the police that proved that she was, but they didn't do anything about it. In 2001, after many reports of her being abused, the police stepped in and saved Lauren from something horrible. They found out that Barbara had locked Lauren in a closet at 6 years old, surviving on soup and crackers. She wasn't allowed out of the closet unless it was to be tortured. Both her mom and her stepdad essayed her, to the point where even her sister would hear her screaming from the other room. And when they weren't doing it themselves, they were renting her out. Because of the severe abuse, she stopped growing her body at 2 years old. And the rash that was on her diaper was not a rash. They wouldn't bathe her or feed her, and when they did, they'd hold her head under the water so she would suffocate. After Kenneth found out that Barbara was cheating on him, he decided to report the case to the police, which was the trigger. When they found her, she was covered in cigarette burns, and when they asked how old she was, she said she was 2 because that was the last birthday she had. She now lives with her adoptive mother and is still dealing with the trauma of all of this.
Police investigate after lights were found on at the Watts family home.
Okay, and read. Holy shit, there's somebody out there.
How is it that cultures all across the world, China, Australia, Europe, and the Americas, all have stories of a dragon? This can all be explained with a cyclops skull, or at least that's what the Greeks thought this was because they misinterpreted the part where the trunk goes on an elephant for an eye socket. Something similar happened with dragons because people found dinosaur and whale bone remains and assumed they were dragon bones. If you made it this far, you probably really like dragons, so make sure to check out King of Avalon. It's a multiplayer war game where you can create and customize your very own dragon and rule a whole kingdom. If you want to be the king of Avalon and raise your dragon, click the link in my bio.
Gruesome facts you didn't know, part 133. In 1990, a Japanese schoolgirl had her skull crushed for being late to school. The school's gates were to be closed at exactly 8:30 to teach the students a lesson about promptness. As the girl attempted to slip through the gate at the very last second, a teacher decided to close it anyway, crushing her skull. If a Viking warrior was wounded in the stomach during a battle, they would be fed a strong, pungent onion soup. They would then smell the wounds to try to find that signature onion smell. If it was detected, they knew the stomach wall was cut and the man would not survive. These are some of the last photos taken by photographer Robert Landsberg at the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Knowing he was going to die, he placed his camera in his backpack and laid on top of it, saving the
The dark history behind 90s toys. There are multiple accounts of Furbies speaking for the dead. In 2012, a young girl was given the Furby of her recently deceased cousin. One night, the Furby woke up by itself and said, "Let me sleep." It continued to stare at the little girl for the whole night, but the next morning, it got worse. The little girl told her mom what happened, and the mom gave her this strange look. The girl asked her mom what was wrong, and her mom said, "Those were your cousin's last words." Like, follow, and share for more strange facts.
This guy worked at Spirit Halloween and you won't believe what he saw. Part 2. As he's investigating the animatronic that was mysteriously left on, he hears another noise come from another stage area. That's when he sees another animatronic has mysteriously turned on. As he goes to turn off the first animatronic, it begins to talk to him. Now, he described the animatronic being a ghost girl swinging on a swing. It began to swing on its own and start whispering some unexplainable voices. That's when he proceeded to run away from the stage area and go turn off the second animatronic. This animatronic was a jump scare animatronic, so right when he approached, it jumped after him. He just decided to say screw it and left the store. He made sure to lock the door, contact his manager of what happened, and never returned to the store. Why do you think the animatronics turned on their own? Comment down below and hit the plus button for more scary.
Legend or lie number 33, the M Show kidnapping. First off, let me start by saying the M Show is a pseudonym for a real show that this story is allegedly based on, but what that show is exactly, I'm not sure. But we'll get to that at the end. Now let's begin. 9-year-olds Emily, Nicole, and Bree were 3 best friends and neighbors who loved The M Show, an educational show with a mixture of actors and costume characters. They got together and watched it every day. They all enjoyed the show, but Bree was like a super fan, and one day she found an ad in the magazine promoting The M Show fan club. All they had to do was take a quiz and send in the correct answers, and they'd be part of the fan club. So that night after watching the show, they huddled together and they took the quiz. The quiz was surprisingly difficult, and without Bree, there's no way they would have been able to get them all right. They happily sent the answers off, and nothing came of it for quite a while. Slowly, Emily and Nicole lost interest in the M Show, and only Bree was still watching it religiously every single night. But then, a few months later, they finally came. Their brand new M Show fan club membership cards. Now they were back on it, watching the show every single night. A few months later, they got even more mail from the M Show saying that they now had a chance to become exclusive members. The cast was going to be in town soon, and all the kids had to do was come down for a meet and greet and they'd be exclusive. They were pumped, and I get it. I can only imagine how stoked I would have been if it was like meet and greet with the Power Rangers back when I was that age. So anyway, the day finally came and Bree was ready to go with her mom, and Emily wanted to go so bad with them, but her mom insisted she had to wait for Nicole, so Bree left with her mom, and Emily was sickened. She was actually pretty upset with Nicole for making her late because she wanted to be first in line, and she was jealous of Bree as she pulled away with her mom. Emily gave her a little solemn wave, not realizing it would be the last time she ever saw her friend. Part 2 is up now.